What's good, everybody? Before I choke on my throat lozenge, welcome to another episode of Take Time Out with Trey Mosley. I am your host, Trey Mosley, and yes, I can still grow hair. Today, my guest hails from the South, like your boy. Is still in the South, unlike your boy. Um, she's done commercials, political stuff. Um, she's a, I, I, I can't say she's a new mommy because she's already been a mommy, but she's a new mommy again.
An old new mom is the
A
thing.
old new There you go, an old
An
new
old new
mom,
mom.
and had one of the most romantic,
Oh.
beautiful, tear-jerking proposals. It shoulda went viral, it
I
really should
know.
have. It was so sweet. Uh, my good friend, Erikka Owens joins the show.
Thank
EJ.
you. Erikka J. Erikka
That's
J.
right, Erikka J. Speaking of, Erikka J,
Yeah.
because before she got into the VO world, Miss Lady was on her way to being the next R&B superstar,
Mm. Did
doing
a
her
little singing.
thing.
A little singing.
So let's talk about that because,
Yeah.
on this show, we like to talk about the before.
Mhm.
And for you, before voiceover, music was your thing.
Yeah.
Um, were you that kid that walked around the house with the brush singing, or they're like, "Girl, if you don't shut up," or how'd you get into that world?
My origin story, my backstory.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so I don't really know if I walked around with a brush singing. That's a great question. But my earliest memory is that because my aunt was a singer as well, session singer, wrote songs in a band and all that. And I remember
Nice.
her having me in front of the mirror in my grandma's apartment and pushing my stomach and going, like that. That's my earliest memory of singing. But beyond that, my mom sang in choirs at church, and children's choir wasn't enough for me. So like when she was in rehearsal, I'd be in the back playing with toys and I'd be singing and like begging that I could join the adult choir. And they were like, ha, ha, ha. And I was like, no, I could do it. And, all of that. And then I got really shy, in like the preteen stage. And one day I was singing in the locker room in middle school when I was in Southeast DC. I'm like technically from the top of the South. So, um,
Oh, I
and these,
lived there too. They
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Southern.
yeah, yeah. That's right. You
Oh,
did live there. Yep.
yeah, they real Southern folk in the area. I
Yeah,
know that.
in the Uriel, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, Erica was my name.
But
URR. Um, but yeah, so these girls were like, "Oh my, you can sing?" And I was just like, "I can?" Like, "I'm good, what?" And then I joined the show choir at Eastern High School, so that
okay.
yeah, Miss Joyce, I believe, was the director, if my memory is not failing me, and she did not play. So I was like, okay, I can sing if I got into here. Then I went to Duke Ellington School of the Arts for a year and
Yeah.
unfortunately had to leave because of family stuff. So I didn't graduate from there, but attended there and had a great year learning classical music. And yeah, just kind of got known for singing, 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 singing. I stopped for 8 years, had a couple kids, and was in a relationship, and then picked it back up like 2009 and took off writing my own stuff, doing open mics, doing a band. I mean, that was in Richmond. I was in Richmond by that time.
Okay.
Just singing everywhere I could and starting to make money and made a business out of it.
Hey
So that was
now.
cool. Yeah.
And DC, um, like New York, like LA, a lot of people don't realize a lot of great talent come
Yes.
out of DC, and they be serious about they singing folk.
Furious. Yes. Yes.
You
And I'm
talk
gonna I'm gonna go on and say DMV because I know these are 2 different
Yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah,
People
true
could
that,
be
true that.
however, it's a lot of yeah, definitely a lot of DMV talent in general.
I
So,
mean,
yeah.
and not even just singing, but just talent, period.
Yes.
Taraji's from there,
Yes.
Tank is from there,
Yep.
the Johnny Gill and his brothers are from
Yep.
there.
Even more
So
current, the dude, Tommy Richmond, who has a number he's from Woodbridge,
I
Virginia.
ain't never been the same.
Same baby. Yeah. Yep, yep,
First
yep.
time I heard that song, I say, "If this ain't some old pimp," I'm just in the car like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah."
man.
So, yeah, the area definitely brings out talent. Now, were you originally born in DC and then
I
moved
was.
further
I have
south?
a
Okay.
DC birth certificate, but I spent a
What?
lot of time yeah. Which means I really don't know how to get a copy, and it would probably take me 5 years,
Were you
but
born at DC General?
no, I was born at Columbia Hospital for Women.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, 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 yeah. But yeah, so, and then, I spent a lot of time in my childhood in Northern Virginia doing Alexandria off the highway.
Oh, in the
Um,
Commonwealth.
yeah, in the Commonwealth, but off the highway, not Old Town Alexandria, like, yeah,
Gotcha,
it's like
gotcha,
little
gotcha.
DC over there.
Y'all have to excuse us. We talking
My
DM
bad, yeah, we talking regional things here, but
we DMV talking right now. Excuse me,
yeah,
excuse me, excuse me.
and not your
So
motor vehicles, but
so you got into singing, you was out there gigging and doing what you do.
yeah.
Uh and then you said motherhood came about
Yeah.
and slowed things down for you.
Well,
Um
to be fair, I it was to be honest, it was, even before that, I went to college, so I went to ODU in Norfolk.
okay.
So down there by, like, Virginia Beach for people that don't know, 757 area of Virginia, and,
Tidewater, Tidewater, Tidewater.
Tidewater area, yeah.
Yeah.
And, I was just kinda always told, go to college, and I was in Army ROTC at the time, so I had every intention of joining the service, and, got in a this serious relationship, and the singing thing just kinda fell off. I just felt like I needed to get a real job, and,
Mhm.
everybody's like, "Oh, you should go on." I don't know if you guys remember what was the show? And I think, Left Eye was the judge or something. It was like one of the early, like, singing reality shows.
I think I know what you're
I
talking
can't
about.
remember the name of it for the life of me. I'm aging myself too. But, yeah, they were like, "You should go on there," and I was just like, I gotta finish college," and I focused on that, and I really stopped singing, and that happened, and then I had kids, and then I really got into adulthood, and I built a project management career, which is great. I worked for the state government in Virginia, then I worked for federal government, and, more recently in automotive tech in the private sector, but yeah, I just kinda went that route, but started to live that double life while I was with the federal government of kinda getting back to the creative and singing, so it
Mhm.
wasn't even the kids, I can't blame them. If anything, they motivated me to start, following my dream and, doing the things that made me happy again, so I felt more like a whole person.
That's what's up. Cause I know, um, them government jobs, you be like, "I wanna go do this, but man, they paying pretty good.
Man, listen,
I'm gonna stay here for a minute and get some of this good government money."
when I got that call, if you want a sidebar story for that one, it'll be quick. I was working for the state at the time, and I love, love, loved my job. I'm still friends with some of those people to this day, working for the state. Really great people working for, a program called EVA, the, procurement program in Virginia.
Okay.
I was a vendor manager there, and, I had applied for a federal job because it was a nice pay raise. I was just like, "Hey, why not?" And it was hard to get those jobs, but I got a phone call on my day off. I had taken a day off to go get my hair done. And she was like, "Yeah, is this Erikka J?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she was like, "I saw that you applied for a job with us, but, you didn't you have 3 days to respond to the email, and you haven't replied yet." And I was like, "What?" And she was like, "And I realized that they misspelled your name.
Oh, wow.
They dropped a K from my name, so the email didn't come through.
Oh.
And thank that soul that called me
Yeah.
because they had hired me. I got the job." And I mean, it was like a $20,000 pay raise a
Ooh,
year. Yeah, it
hey
was
hey
nice.
hey,
And I
now
was a single mom at the time. And I was just like, "Oh my god, I made it. I'm in federal." And,
I'm telling you, and Virginia had
that
low taxes back then.
listen, and
Uh,
if that lady hadn't called me, it would have changed my whole career. So, shout out to whoever that lady was. I wish I'd saved her name.
so, Miss Lady, if you ever see this, we thank you.
We thank you.
We
Divine
thank you.
intervention, baby. It's a thing.
So when did the transition come from leaving the DMV and heading further down? Uh,
Yeah, so let's see. I guess the timeline is, yeah, I was DMV area all through high school, and then I went to ODU. So that's when I got to the 757. Went there for 4 years, and then my partner at the time, he was from Richmond, so we went to Richmond, and that's where I was in Richmond, Virginia for God 13 years. Met my now husband in a band while I was there because he's a singer too. And
okay.
yeah, he was actually getting ready to move to Atlanta. And we just kind of,
Okay.
yeah, but we maintained a friendship and, all these things. And I was really still pursuing music very heavily. So I kind of started looking like, could Atlanta be a good move for us? It'd be a good change for the kids and all of that. So we made the jump and I quit the government job, found a private job, private corporate here, which was a big
Mhm.
jump because government is very secure.
Yeah.
Like you got to damn near try to kill somebody to get fired. Like it's
True. Real talk. Real talk.
So, that was kinda scary, but I made the jump, and I've been in Atlanta now for 7 years.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I got here.
you never know where life takes you, folks.
You never know, man.
Never know. You
Never know.
know, I grew up in Florida, and then left Florida, lived with my sister and brother-in-law in Staten Island. And then they bought a house in Jersey and was like, "Hey, you wanna come stay with us?" I'm like, yeah, because I ain't staying in Staten Island. Y'all crazy." And, moved with them, then fast forward, I spent 7, 8, 9 or so years in DC.
Mhm.
Um, that's how I got to know the area. Plus, I got family up there,
Right.
um, Forestville,
Okay.
out there out there
Maryland.
out there in Southeast, you know what I'm saying? And I had a cousin that lived in Old Town, so I was familiar with
Mm.
the area and being up there with them and, they showing me around. Um, I was dabbling in music, because a buddy of mine, he used to do some stuff and we used to write songs, and it's crazy because I just not even a week or so ago, I remember registering with BMI,
Yeah.
and we talking 20 years now, and I'm like, I don't remember. At that time, BMI wasn't even, now you have to log in and put all your information in. I'm like, I think I had to fill out a form online and
Mail
mail
it
it
or
in.
something. I can see
Yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I had to hit them up like, hey, this is an older brother from 19.
From the
I know
19s.
I know y'all folks is all automated now. You think you can find me in the system?
Oh, man.
And I gave them my old address and my old AOL email address,
Ooh.
and they found me. I
Ooh.
was like, "Wow." So now I'm back with BMI and,
Okay.
writing lyrics again, so doing a
Good
little
for you.
something.
Good for you.
Um,
For you.
Now, do you still, uh, because I know VO and family life takes up so much,
Oh my god.
time. Do you still get that itch for music? Do you write? Do you sing? Do you kinda
Oh,
when no
man.
one's around, you just, "Let me
It's
see
such
if
a
I can
great
do a little
question.
something."
I'm not actively doing it, no, but I really do miss it. I'm an ASCAP girly, so I still have that.
Hey, now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But, yeah, it's been on the radar. It is very hard with the family, and VO is plenty busy enough. So not actively. I do want to get back to it. But I love that with VO, especially like animation auditions from time to time. This morning I got to sing,
Yeah.
so that's always cool. And it's just a nice little thing to have in my back pocket. There was a surge a couple months ago where I started seeing a lot of rap requests. A lot of
Huh.
female rappers and in VO auditions. And I was just like, ooh, and I was about to do a singing demo, but then it kind of chilled for a second. So I'm waiting for that to come back
Yeah.
to justify the cost. But yeah, so not right now, but it is definitely, on the radar. I wanna do something, even if it's just small.
Now, and y'all have to excuse me, I know this is a VO show, but I am talking to a musician. Um, as far as the talent that's out there now, um, and not the talent that everyone knows, so not the Beyoncés and
Yeah, the
I mean,
mainstream.
yeah, but like the up and coming, I don't even want to say up and coming because a lot of these young ladies now they've been out for a minute and really doing their thing. Like, who's someone that you know bends your ear and you like, yeah, that girl got it.
Ooh, God, that is such a great question, and I'm terrible. Like, it's like asking your singer who's their favorite artist. It's like the worst question ever because I never know how to answer. Like, I gotta go to Spotify and see my most recent saved songs because I listen to so much. Um I don't know, not really necessarily new, but I love me some Anderson .Paak, and he is definitely, like, underrated. I mean, a lot of people like him, but he's not, like, quite mainstream yet, and I
Yeah,
think he should
yeah.
be. Um, God, who have I listened to lately? I've been saving old stuff, like Patrice Rushen and Lucy Pearl.
Hey, I have a vinyl collection in here,
Listen,
and I love some of the new folk, but I'll throw on some funk and be like,
you gotta mix it up, man, you have
yeah,
to. Oh god, I'm really drawing a blank. Like I said, Tommy Richmond is dope. I like his new stuff he's been doing. Oh, who's new? I just discovered this group, RC and the Grits.
hmm.
I don't know if you heard of them.
I have not, but
Yep,
I'm
yep.
gonna check it out.
That was they got some dope stuff. I know she is mainstream, but I just started hearing some Sabrina Carpenter stuff because I didn't hear it before because I'm always so busy. And she was like, "Okay, I like her." I don't know. I just I I I I can't even I have so many saved songs. Like this is ridiculous.
So
Um,
thanks to my daughter and my wife, because
yeah.
I SZA is dope.
Of course. Yeah. She's a
Um,
given.
I love her, and that's HER, not her as a they
Yeah.
they know.
I love
Yeah,
her as well. Yes.
and, there was and, my girl Coco Jones.
Yeah, Coco Jones is dope.
She
Um,
do it for me. She can, because I first found out about her, from the TV show, but it was like, "I got an album coming out." I'm like, "Oh, you say?"
you got a what? A
So,
who?
yeah, she surprised me. She can get down.
I'm
Um,
really looking at what I've been listening to, and besides, like, Miss Rachel and Gracie's Corner because I have a toddler. Like, that's what I listen to now, like, it's all, like, older stuff. I think I just went back because, oh my god, am I at that age where it's easier to go backwards than to listen to
it
new stuff? Damn it.
so I will be, 50 this year, and let me tell you.
Say what?
Yeah, man, I haven't cut my hair in a while. I wanted to see how much I could grow, and it's still
Mhm.
growing,
Okay.
and, I'm getting my snowflakes, they coming in and whatnot. So, yeah, but no, I love the classic music. I try to do as best I can to split both worlds, the new
Yeah,
folks
stay fresh.
and
Yeah.
and what's in the past, but, we gonna come back to that.
We
So,
will, we will, we will. I
the
do love me some Megan Thee Stallion, even though she is very mainstream, but, I like Meg. I like Meg a lot.
yeah, she's diverse too.
She is. I think
She
that's why I like her.
she's starting to, I think, in a next couple of years, she'll still be rapping, but she's gonna be known for "and this
Yeah,
and that,"
yeah,
because her brand is just
yeah. She's on the Amazon commercial. I was like, "Yeah, girl."
she's on a Olympics
Is
promo
she?
too.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
man, she hot, she hot, she doing it.
So that's a good segue. Um, Getting your brand out there,
Mm,
how did you discover or find or say, voiceover. Okay,
mhm.
I could give this a shot. Like, what opened that door for you?
Yeah. So, while I was in Richmond and I was, like I said, really kind of heavy in the music scene, there was a guy there, actually a couple guys I knew that, one was a comedian, shout out Bam. He, had told me it was either him or John Bibbs, I can't remember, that they had told me that they had left the studio from doing a voiceover. And I was like, "A voiceover? What's that?" You know? Like, I was really clueless. I had no idea that this was a thing. And they were like, "Yeah, we're just talking on a commercial." I was like, "Oh, okay." I do the Google hustle, and I'm like, "Well, what is this?" Because at the time I was still working for the government. My kids were under 10, so they were pretty young, and I was gigging every weekend with the corporate band, so I was having to
Right.
leave them all the time. And, I mean, just to give you a little context, it was great money then, but, I was making $400 for a 4-hour set, a 4-hour show,
Whoa.
plus travel and rehearsals.
Yee.
So, my musicians, whew, my heart's with you.
Yeah.
'Cause yeah. So, when I kinda learned about voiceover, I was like, "I could do this at home, like, that would be great." And I was really using my artistic income to fund my business, essentially. So, um, I started, like, calling and, like, really, like, trying to contact the studio that he kept working with, like, they got tired of me, they were like, "Stop calling." Like
We get it. We get it.
or
We
stop
get
emailing. They're
it.
like, "No." But then I was also doing a musical with a VCU, theater grad, and,
Okay.
she told me about a studio there that would do reels. So, don't do what Erica did, but I went straight there and was like, "Can I get a demo?" Bless them, they still hire me to this day. I've worked with DC
Really?
Lottery, VA Lottery through them.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of different places, and they still hire me, but they walked me through the demo process. They are sweethearts.
Yee.
And they were like, "Here's your copy." And I'm like, "Copy?" I
Yeah.
mean, I can't even tell you how green I was. I did not know that copy and I'm a communications major, but I didn't know that copy meant what it means. So, they walked me through, kinda guided me to do my reads. I hope that demo is never heard again. Maybe I don't know if I can burn something digitally, but I wish I could. Um, And yeah, so that was what opened that door, and then I started doing the online, the P2Ps, because what else do you do when you don't know
We
anybody else
get it.
doing this, right?
We get it. We
But it
get
worked for
it.
me. I was able to get some stuff on the site we shall not name. Then I found Voice 123 and, kinda worked
Okay.
that. Then I moved to Georgia, kinda did a few more things, started looking around online again, found VO Atlanta, and saw I remember seeing a lot of people on stage, but the person that sticks out to me is Jordan. I
Really?
remember hearing him speak on a panel because I did the digital one first. I didn't wanna go in person.
All right. I know you're probably wondering, wow, he has a haircut now and a shave. Um, if you hung out with us this far, then we had some technical difficulties um, that we're not going to discuss at the moment.
At the moment.
Um, even though I've been heckled already by Erica about it.
Gave you my best evil voice laugh, my villain laugh.
But that's neither here nor there. When we last left, you were talking about um, your demo and how you got it made, and you were advising the fine
Mhm.
folks out there not to
Mm.
do what you did.
Yes. Yes, yes,
So
yes.
let's recap from there. So you start out doing music. Friend of yours like, yeah, I'm going to record this video, and you're like, what's voiceover? He
Yep.
tells you what voiceover is, and you got your Google hustle on. You like, yeah, let me figure out what he talking about. And then you did all the things they tell us not to do in voiceover.
I did. I
You
did.
did
I
to
did.
get your demo done. So
Yeah.
start from there, and then we'll
And then
keep
we'll
this train
circle
moving.
back. Yeah, I was gonna try to wear the same shirt, but I appreciate that we keep it real on taking time out,
That believe it.
But yeah, so, yeah, had found the studio, recommended to them by my friend that was a theater graduate at VCU. Did the demo, they walked me through it like champs. I mean, to the point, like, they were, like, talking about copy, and I didn't know what they meant. Like, yeah, go ahead, just and I was a communication major, but I don't know where that disconnect happened. But anyways, I was totally green, like, green as they come. But they walked me through reading the scripts, and I had a demo, and they posted it on their site so other people could hear me. And I did end up getting hired a couple times for clients that they had, including like DC Lottery, and they walked me through in sessions to get me, to where they needed me, and it worked out there. I was booking a couple things on P2Ps, and I was like, "Oh, I'm booking some stuff," and then silence. Book a couple things and silence, and that kind of cycle happened for a good, I don't know, 3, 4 years until I found everybody else in the community, and I was like, "Oh, that's what this really is."
Yeah, it happens. I, like you, did the P2P route, and I remember I was all hyped, filling out my little profile. I'm like, "So this is how you get into voiceover, you just fill out a
Yep.
form."
Ooh,
I
I'm about
I
to kill 'em.
ah, look at that. All these years, I had no idea.
Right,
Alright, and submit. And I started booking stuff on there, and it also, when you look at it now, hindsight, I booked something for like $75 because I didn't know how to negotiate rates.
right,
And I was like, yeah, y'all boys out there struggling, $5 an hour. I just made 75 quick
right,
dollars. I ain't even spend 5 minutes on the mic.
right.
And like you said, it's not until you start talking to the community. First of all, finding out that there is a community
Hello, that. Yeah.
because, you know, I was at the very first VO Atlanta, and I found out about it almost by accident.
Mm,
Um I was on YouTube, um the information portal that it is,
mm,
and I was just looking up voice actors, and this guy named John Taylor popped up, and there was he did a poem. There was a Chrysler or Dodge campaign that year called "And God Made a Farmer," and they were
mm.
talking about the Dodge trucks, but
This
the
sounds familiar.
guy
Yeah.
was doing reciting a poem about, farmers, and the way they brought it all together, the farmers were using the Dodge trucks. So John did a version of that call, and God made a voice actor, and at
Mm.
the end of it, it said VO Atlanta conference. See you in Atlanta, something like that. And I'm like, what is that? And to the interwebs we go,
Yes.
and looked it up, and I'm like, oh, so they have a conference for this type of stuff. All right. And pay my little 195. It wasn't that much back then. Now
Right.
you got the mortgage off your family. Be like, I'll be back. I promise I'll be back.
And you were
But
pretty close being in Florida, so J in
yeah,
Jacksonville
it
anyway.
was
So, yeah,
from Jacksonville
hop and
to
skip.
Atlanta. I'm like, I've done this in my sleep.
Yeah.
So, pew, went there. It maybe 100 people, and that could be a
Wow.
very, very exaggerated number. But let's say it was 100 people. First time I saw it, met Nancy Wolfson, Joan and Rudy were there for the first time.
Wow.
The um well, they're called Voiceover Body Shop now.
Yeah.
They just ended their run. Shout out
Yeah.
to Dan and George, but back then they were called EWABs, East West Audio Body Shop, because Dan was in Buffalo and George was out in California,
Oh,
and
cool.
they still did the podcast. But yeah, being around these folks in the industry, and just kind of watching how they were moving. And then that same year, I got a chance to go to before it was That's Voiceover and Sovas, it was just That's Voiceover, and that was in LA. So now I'm like, I get to go to LA.
Yeah.
Because at that time I was not working on anybody's job. I had just got let go. So I was living off of um I sold some stock I had bought. Um in a little small company called Netflix back then,
Oh, yeah,
that was like
little tiny thing.
60 something dollars a share, and then I let it sit there and it ballooned to like $300 a share.
Ooh, buddy.
And I was like, yeah, I can take a little bit of this money and do something. So I was living off stocks and unemployment for a year,
Wow.
and took that money, and off to LA I went, and got to experience That's Voiceover. Now when I went to that, because it was at the time the more known conference of the two, that's when you saw everybody. Joe Cipriano, Dave
Yeah.
Fenoy, Rod Houston, and Ganguza. First time I met Keith David, that was
Mm.
scary, but it was cool at
Yeah.
the same time.
Wow.
But you get to be around those folks and really inundate yourself like, okay, so these are folks that's doing it then.
Yeah. Yeah.
And without really being in the conversation, I may walk by and turn my back and like, so the next thing coming up today is, like talking to myself at the same time. I'm ear hustling. Yeah, man, just book the so and so and so. And I'm like, okay, so he does promo. Got it. And
Right.
just picking up stuff. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, a lot of people have to go through that. Um, I guess now though, because there's more access.
Mhm. Yeah.
You can go into, there weren't a lot of Facebook groups for voiceover in between 2009 and 2010, 11, 12, but then they started to pop up, or at least I didn't know about them.
Right.
And once you get in there, it's like, oh, y'all got whole groups and everything. All right, that's what's up.
Right. Right.
So talk
Yeah.
about how that was a challenge, because it's like you've learned this one thing about these P2P sites, and you're making money, but then you find out, oh, instead of $75, I could have got 750 for that. Why did nobody
Yeah.
tell
Yeah.
me?
Thankfully, I don't think I had any, like, really, like, lowball ones that I
Mhm.
remember, honestly. But Just learning how much you could really make doing this. I'm sure there were probably some, like, maybe little, like, radio commercial things that I didn't know, or even for industrials that I could have charged more. But, I mean, like you said, because I didn't start until 2016. So, like, my first exposure to VO Atlanta was, like I said, was online in 2019, and then the summer intensive in 19, and then I went to Sovas, and it was, I think at the Warner Brothers lot that what was that, November or something like that of
Yeah.
19 as well. So, me and my girl Rebecca, my ace boon coon, we
I
went
can
together.
leave. Yeah.
We were both just like little kids, like looking around, like, whoa, who is everybody? Like, we didn't know who everybody was, and now I'm looking back and I'm like, wait, was that? I think I saw Tim. I think, and now I know who all these people are. But um, we just really had no clue. So to go from that place of getting a couple things on P2Ps, not really even knowing. I just knew it was extra money that I didn't take
Yeah.
that long to make, and, going to these events and not knowing who anyone was, to now, some my heroes are my friends, like, and, what did they say? I forget the saying or even who said it, but something like, where you get to the level where your heroes are actually your competition, like, you guys are going for the same stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
like,
Your
it's
colleagues become your
beautiful.
competition,
There you
something.
go. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a beautiful progression, yeah.
Yeah, I remember, I had a similar experience because when I when I went to That's Voiceover back in 2012, 13, whenever it was, I w and I'm not a timid person,
Yeah.
I think most people know. As my wife says, I've never met a stranger. But when I got there and I'm putting faces to names that I know, I was not saying nothing to nobody.
Yeah.
And some dude, I don't know who he was, he came out of nowhere. He's like, uh, Trey, right? I'm like, first of all, how you know me, bro?
Right.
I'm like, oh, the tag. Okay, yeah, yeah,
Right.
Trey. He's like, you do you know Dave? I'm like, I do not know Dave. Do you want to meet him? I'm like, who is I don't to this day I don't remember who this dude. Maybe he was security or whatever. Maybe God was just like, hey, go talk to this brother because he's gonna
Hey,
stand here all day just looking crazy.
an
And
instrument of divine intervention, that's what
yeah, he
it
introduced me
is.
to Dave,
Yeah.
and you know, fast forward to 20, and it's funny you say 2016 because 2015, it may even be 14 or 15. Um, I caught him in the hallway, and he and I just started having conversation. Matter of fact, a buddy of mine who was interested in getting into VO, I said, "Hey, I'm going to VO Atlanta. We can make a road trip, bro, if you trying to go." And he came with me that year
Mm,
and caught Dave in the hallway, and we got to talking and having conversation. And you know, from that point on, like a mentorship grew
yeah.
from there, and then from the mentorship, became a friendship, so much so that he's referred me for work, and I'm like, thank
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
nice.
So it's crazy, like you said, you get to meet your heroes. I'm like, this the dude that's in The Walking Dead, and then
Yeah,
I start going down the encyclopedia of work, and I'm like, wait, I
right.
played that character in Mass Effect. I didn't know that was him, and
Yeah.
the whole thing. So talk about that feeling when like you said, you folks that will be potential colleagues now, you're doing auditions or even booking over, like, ooh, I didn't know she was up for that too. It's kind of like, sorry, but I
Yeah.
booked it. Hey,
Yeah, right,
thing.
right. Um, yeah, I don't even know where how to what else to say about that one. It's constantly trying to keep your game up and up your game, and even just the fact that you are in the same, consideration pool with some of these people is just like, "Really?" Like, "Right, what, me? What?" Like,
Yeah.
so I mean, it's cool, but, it's also just a testament to the fact that What I really love about voiceover and the community coming from the music side of entertainment, um, is that it is such a more blue collar is the first term coming to mind, but that's not really necessarily what I mean. But it's not as it's not as glitzy as like the rest of Hollywood. You know what I mean? Like it's really more about the work and there's not as much of like all the backstabbing and stuff like that. It's just like, oh, I'll refer you or people don't mind because it's just like there's enough for everybody. It's just a more collaborative corner of entertainment in Hollywood, and I adore that. So it's like you do the work, you build the relationships, and every time you step up to the bat, it's a new opportunity. It's not necessarily about what you've done; it's what you're doing at that moment on the mic, and I love that.
True. Having dabbled in music myself, it is very cutthroat.
Very,
Um,
yeah,
when you're trying to make music and maybe your song is probably dope doper than the other person, but because that person is more well known, you don't get a placement, but they get a
right.
placement, and it's like,
It's a
I.
lot.
But
It's a lot.
here in VO, just like I said earlier, Dave couldn't make a thing,
Yep.
and he hit me up, was like, "Hey, are you in LA?" I'm like, "No, but I can be. Like, what's happening?"
Right.
And come to find out the thing, I end up being the VOG for uh a celebration dinner for Berry Gordy.
Yeah.
And now you meeting all these Motown luminaries, and I'm like, "Thank you, Dave. Thank you, sir."
Yeah.
Um, when did you say to yourself, you know, once you made that makeshift demo, and just so did you start softening it out to agencies, or did you just say, "All right, I got a
No.
demo, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna use this." So how did you use the demo?
I think that was my one saving grace is that because I didn't know the scope of this industry, I didn't know about the community, I didn't know about agents either, and it wasn't anywhere near my radar, and it wasn't even anything like I thought that I was, there. I would have thought like, that's what famous people do, have agents, and I was just like, yeah, like that wasn't even there for me. So in a way, that was a blessing because the only thing I used my demo for was, P2Ps and, when I would hit up a couple local studios and the local studio that actually did the demo for me because the reason that they did it was because they actually had, like, a roster, so they could show their client their options or whatever, so that was
Nice.
really the only way that I was using it. Thank goodness I wasn't really shopping it around. I might have put it on my website, maybe. I hope nobody downloaded it.
Um,
Oh god. Maybe I didn't know to make my demo downloadable by then, hopefully, but, at that time,
uh,
but yeah,
a blessing in disguise.
a blessing indeed. I don't think I submitted to any agents. It might have been some studios and, like, rosters, but not wide scale, thank goodness.
Yeah, I like you when I would hear people say, "Yeah, because my agent called." I'm like, "Ooh, agent."
Yeah, right,
It's like, "Ooh, you're up there with the cream of the crop."
exactly.
I I didn't even have the wherewithal to send my demo out to. I didn't know that there were production when I always heard production companies or recording studios, I thought music and
Right,
film.
right.
And then to find out, well, who do you think films the commercials and makes commercials? It's a production company. Like,
Exactly.
oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Um, and then you start to, when I started, I really didn't have anybody giving me any information. This was all just Google.
Yeah, yep,
How do you do this?
yep.
How do you find this person? Does voiceover people or do voiceover people have agents? And then
Mhm.
all these I was like,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
oh,
yeah.
wow. But I had my own little makeshift demo, but because I came from music, I knew how to make a music bed underneath. Now my actual VO was terrible, but I remember I made this fake commercial spot for, it was like this Black History Month thing, bro, Today in Black History brought to you by, Walmart, and it was like,
Mhm.
born Sheldon Jackson Lee. Spike Lee is an American filmmaker. I remember it almost verbatim, and I remember going to Voiceover, that's Voiceover for their speed dating thing,
Hmm.
and I got a chance to have some people listen to it. Joyce Castellanos listened to it, um, and Nancy, Wolfson listened to it,
Oh,
and
boy.
so it's interesting to go from Joyce, who is just salt of the earth. She is, I call her my VO grandma, because she is so nice. She's like, "You have such a velvety range." I'm like, "Is that good?" She's like, "Oh,
Right.
yes. I could see you doing promo and narration and stuff." I'm like, "Oh, thank you, Miss okay." And then Nancy,
Came in with the real.
that one can. "Hmm, did you make this yourself, this demo?"
Saw right through you, huh?
"Yeah, I could tell." Just I mean, it's not bad, just I know demos and I'm like, "Wow," like,
Hey, that's what
chop
you need.
she chopped the tree down,
But you
but
need
she
both,
she
right? Like,
she
you need a
dug it.
little
Yeah,
yeah, you need a little validation to know that you have something, a foundation where you can do this, but you need somebody to give you the tough love so that you can be competitive. But
man,
so, yeah.
she put me in a blender. She probably don't remember, but you remember that type of stuff. She's like, "No, I think you got something. I just suggest, 1, don't, let anyone else listen to that demo, and, 2, get you a professional demo, and you
Mhm.
definitely have a shot in this business." I was like, "Aight."
That's probably some of
So
the best advice she coulda gave you.
yeah,
Sure, so,
buddy.
yeah,
Um,
I've never met her in person, but, I know a number
s
of people that have worked with her.
so if I and people have asked me about her, and I'm like, "Look, when it comes to what she does as a professional, yeah, Nancy is going to be on your ass like a mosquito in your ear." But on the personal side, she nicest person you'd ever
Right,
wanna meet.
right.
Just cool people. But,
Mhm.
if you want the truth, she may tell you a joke, but she never tell you a lie.
I know
So
that's
just
right.
be careful what you wish for, people.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but yeah, she good people. But going back to what you were saying about the just the community of it all,
yeah,
um, folks here have been very helpful. They're very engaging. But there's something, and we alluded to this before we got cut off. I wanted to talk about. Um, why do you feel that when it comes to this business, for as vast a community and hand holding and hugs and kisses that we throw at everybody, but when you start to talk about money,
ooh,
that everyone just goes, whoop,
ooh,
oh, we can't talk about that.
ooh, a man
Why?
after my own heart. Oh, you talked about money. Oh,
Why? Why is that so taboo?
there
I
are
mean, if
so
we're
many
all
reasons.
in this thing to A, do the work and be successful at it,
Mhm.
money has to come up.
Listen, um, yeah. So, okay, God, okay. Organize your thoughts, Erica. Don't go crazy. So, uh, for one, we have a deep-seated, subconscious, um, attitude towards money, um, at a societal level, at a human level. I mean, it's just and especially as creators, like, you don't want anyone to think that you don't love this.
Mhm.
Um, in being in this industry where you're constantly a pick me, right? Like you want somebody to choose you and you don't want to put them off by talking about money. Um, you want to a lot of us are doing this. I mean, we want to make money and make a living at it too, but we really honestly love the work. Like if money
Oh,
wasn't a thing,
for
we'd do
sure.
it.
Yeah.
So so it gets harder to sort of like demand your worth. But just talking about money in general outside of VO is very uncomfortable for a lot of people because there are so many layers. People associate their self-worth with how much money they make. And I mean, not I don't mean that, I mean figuratively, like
Yeah.
yeah, just how they are as a person. Um People are afraid to ask for their worth. People are afraid to ask for more. Um I don't know. And then I mean there's culturally, particularly with black people, people of
Oh
color,
boy.
and then with women and women of color, like it's even more, it's just like, "I'll just take what I can get." Like, God, there's so many reasons that I think we're uncomfortable talking about money, but more than understanding what the reasons are, I think the only way to kind of break through it, just like the only way to break through procrastination is to take action. Um, the only way to break through these fears is to talk about money. Um, you know, and just be comfortable with that discomfort. Um, Learning about industry rates and educating each other so we're all sort of on the same, you know, uh, uh, accord with that. Whether you're union, non-union, FICOR, whatever, it doesn't matter. If you're on P2Ps, cool. I'm still on Voice 123, and I have no issue talking about that. My stance has always been if somebody emails me from my website, we all talk about SEO and people coming to us and people direct marketing and things like that. I
Right.
see no difference than if somebody walks in on my website and says, I want to pay you $75 for an in perpetuity commercial. Or if I find that job on Voice 123, I still have to demand the rate that I want to charge. I could accept the $75 or I could say, no, that's going to be 1,000 and you can have it for 6 months, or whatever. Just throwing numbers out. So I think we just have to educate each other. We have to have these conversations in public, and not make it, not allow it to continue to be this scarlet letter. We all need money to live, and we should all be compensated for the hard work and talent that we have and that we put into our work, just like the corporations expect to be.
Straight up. Um, I had been in negotiations with a few long-standing clients, and I'm like, look, y'all heard what your boy said. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
That's right.
And it baffles me how food, gas, rent or mortgage, whatever you have, everything else has increased,
Yeah,
but you expect my rate
to
to
be the
stay
same.
where it is.
Right. Yeah.
Y'all crazy as hell. Ain't no way.
I mean, it has to match inflation,
Yeah,
and yeah. I mean, cost of living raises happen for people, hopefully in most places, every year because the cost of living increases every year. Prices go up on everything and you have to follow suit. Yeah, it's yeah. And especially with what we do, whenever people sort of get scared or worried about increasing their prices. I get it. It's a tough conversation to have. But you have to remember that when we are licensing our voice, we have to account for the opportunity costs of taking that particular job where we now may not be able to take something else.
yeah,
Even if that particular job is not asking for exclusivity, something else down the road might. So you need to make sure that you're being compensated enough where if you can't, you did a job for Coke and now something for Pepsi comes along that you have to say, well, I got paid enough for Coke that I'm not even mad I can't take that Pepsi job right now you know? But if
yeah.
you don't do that, then you're screwing yourself out of money, and I don't know if you've ever read or heard of the book, Your Money or Your Life.
No,
Nikki, I forget her last name. Somebody's gonna watch this and say it and know it. Um,
I'm gonna go look it up as soon as we done.
yeah, I know a lot of her book was really focused on, like, the FIRE movement, what is it? Financial independence, retire early, but
Yeah,
the core of what she was saying is that money is a representation of your life energy. And when I
wow.
read that, whoa, right? Like,
I'm,
totally
i
shifts the
that
perspective.
line. Wow. Okay.
Totally shifts the perspective. So when you think about the fact that you are spending hours in classes, you are spending hours working wherever to make the money to invest in your website or whatever, you're spending hours in the booth doing the actual work. You wanna make sure that the life energy that you are giving to this corporation, that you are compensated for it so that that money, you can now do things like take a vacation with your family or save so that you can retire a little earlier or buy yourself a nice vacation or whatever, so that that trade, that barter of your life energy gives you something back that is matching a value or even more.
Mm.
So to me, that is why commanding adequate rates is so important. It's not about greed. It doesn't mean you don't love what you do, but it's about being compensated in a way that your life energy that you traded was worth it.
And I think what that last point you hit on is important. Um, we're not asking for more money because we're being greedy.
Right.
Speaking for myself,
Right.
it's not because I'm being greedy, but I'm like, all right, when we first did this thing in 2017,
Right.
it was, you know, maybe $300 a pop, and I did 10 of them. That's a nice little piece of change.
Yeah.
But now if you're coming back saying, "Hey, we got 20 of these and it's now 2024. I've been with you this long."
Right.
I might wanna bump that up to instead of 300, maybe, 5 or 600 a pop.
Well, that
Um,
$3,000 ain't gonna buy you the same thing that it bought you those
no
6 years
ma'am.
before, whatever. So, yeah, it's
Not
inflation.
in these Americas.
Not
Not
in
not
these
not
America.
now, no.
No, no, no.
3 grand in 2016 ain't 3 grand in 2024. It's
Not at
like,
all.
nah, it ain't working.
Yeah.
Speaking of marketing, how do you other than representation, how do you go about marketing yourself? A lot of folks, even to this day, some folks will say that SEO is a dying technology.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in the middle. I use SEO to a certain extent, but I'm still that dude that will send out 50 emails. I am a LinkedIn sniper. I would like, "Oh, that's a good one. Pew, let me go get that."
I
I
love it. Yeah.
so, like, what are some of your methods outside of representation that you do to get clients?
Yeah, I hate direct marketing, like, I hate it, I hate it.
I ain't say I liked it, I just told you what I
Oh,
do because I don't like
god.
it either.
I know, and I was really fighting it for a while, and I'm still not doing a ton of it, but I'm, like, working towards that. I do like to target, um, beyond, like you said, like, representation, like, formal, like, agents, but I do like to target production houses and rosters and things like that, where it's a smaller pool, I'm not having to do as much of the customer and client acquisition, but I'm just sort of in the room, if you will, in the virtual room where they're going to be
Right.
recording, and it's like, they have 5 talent. It's easier than me going up against 500, at DPN or whatever. So, I'm also, like you said, I'm big on like whoever I meet, I try to connect with on LinkedIn, stay connected, stay updated. I tell everyone I know that I do voiceover. I do believe in SEO, but I know exactly what you're talking about, and I forget the name of the other technology people were talking about was going to replace it. I'll remember in like 60 minutes, of course. But I do believe in like making yourself just known digitally, your digital storefront. Um, to make yourself easily found, particularly if you're a niche voice, which, somewhat being African American, being black, you could say you're a niche because not everybody is black and black voices are in demand. So um just making sure that that is visible. Yeah. So those are kind of my ways. I do a lot of agency auditions, so I don't have as much time.
Mhm.
And like I said, I am on Voice 123, and I did the elevated level there to give myself more visibility, and I get a return on that. That works well.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's where I'm at.
that's cool.
Yeah,
Let's take it let's get cultural.
let's get cultural.
Um, so we are 2, people of color, 2
We are.
voices of color. Um, how have you seen work for us progress?
Mhm.
Um, is there more room for growth? And how do you feel for and I'm not going to say the urban market because there's so many of us that have grown up in households that don't sound black.
Yeah.
So let's just take that and throw urban out of the way. But for black and brown voices, period, um, do you see more growth for us in this industry? How do we bring more attention and awareness. Because you have folks, if I were to say, oh, I booked a promo for Black History Month. Some idiot will, how come there's no White History Month? 'Cause you guys are in all the history books already.
Yeah,
So we're not gonna go. That's a whole nother show.
that is a
But
whole conversation.
but but how do you feel that we are progressing in this industry, and where do you think we can go moving
Mm.
forward?
What a big question. Because my first thought is that I think that there are both external and internal factors. So I'll start with like kind of externally. Of course, and I actually mentioned this. I just did a recording of a podcast with Paul Schmidt. Love him. We had this exact conversation, and we've been in a patriarchal society for quite a long time. Not just even America, like the world. So,
Mhm.
um, might take a little time to dig out of that hole. And of course, patriarchal kind of talks about the gender aspect, but I mean, really, just anything that is different from the norm of white male, white cis straight male.
Right.
So anything that's outside is considered diverse, and that's a little bit tougher for people to swallow. I don't know. Um, but I think that we've definitely made strides. Obviously, all the events during the pandemic with the George Floyd shooting, murder, kind of accelerated a lot of things, and media stepped up because they were called to. Um, so we've made great strides, but of course, there's much farther to go. When I talk about the internal aspect, I think that I can only speak from the perspective of a black woman, but I know that for many people of color, um, like you said, people, the whole urban thing and throwing that out, it's been very difficult for me to throw that out because, I spent a fair amount of my time growing up in DC, as you hear, got a little bit of a quote unquote maybe accent, but I
Oh yeah.
also, but I also had, grandmothers and my mother that were very diligent on making sure that I knew how to speak well. I'm well read. And, I wonder, I still worry about in coaching sessions with Dave Walsh, he'll say, about do I sound black enough or do I sound too black? Or, you know what I mean? Like kind of trying to find that. And I still have this internal struggle of when they're encouraging diversity. Well, how do I attack this? So that I'm giving them the diversity they're looking for. Do they know I'm black when they hear me? Like, you know, um, so we just internalize so much of this intolerance, for lack of a better term, I'll say, for diversity that we still, even if the external world fixes it all today, we still have a lot of work to do from the trauma and the damage that was done of being raised that way.
Yeah. I and so many folks that I have talked to in and it's funny how even though you can be in different regions of the country or in the world,
Yeah.
that you can bring up a specific topic and they all go, yeah, me too. I used to be teased because I talked proper or
Oh.
you sound white. And I was talking to Michael Scott, who grew up in Compton.
Mhm.
And he was like, "Bruh, I grew up in Compton and was and sounded like this.
Right.
So imagine you got them boys out there, they like, "Man, what's up with your man? Why he sound,"
Right.
it's
Yep. Yep.
and it used to bother me for a while, and I remember talking to one of my friends, this was probably maybe 15 years or so ago, and I was like, "Remember when y'all used to always be like, 'Man, why you always he sounds so proper and sounds so white?'"
Yeah.
And I was like and I went to his ear. They pay me for it now. And,
Exactly.
so, it was like, "Ha!
I love it.
Finally,
I love it.
it's justified." But
Yes.
I still had to grow up with it. My mom was a teacher,
Mm.
so there was already just that
Yeah.
was an expectation because, here's this educated woman, so, you know, the natural assumption is that it's going to trickle down into me, and yes, I was a smart kid, but it was so I wanted to so badly to be
Cool, right?
a bad kid.
Yeah,
So
because they were cool.
yeah, you know, we used to have this grading system in Florida where they gave you, uh, your academic grade, and then they gave you, your behavioral grade. So, I would have, like, an A1D. Like, he's a smart kid, but he's always talking. He's so disruptive. He's telling jokes. He's doing this.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, "What is your problem? You just gotta be the joke of the class." I'm like, "Yeah, because why not?" You know,
Yeah.
I had to it was very difficult for me to find that balance.
Yeah.
Um, scholastically, I again, having the pressure of being a teacher's kid,
Yeah.
I would be like, "Man, I feel like this gonna be a C semester. I ain't gonna turn in too much. Because if I turn in too much, man, you always getting A's on stuff. Now I gotta see, man.
Yeah.
Look, I gotta see this time."
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
for
one of
real?
you, right? Like, we all
Yeah,
want to belong to the tribe, you know? Yeah,
and
and so if
high
you're doing
school
something
is I
different.
always say high school is the breeding ground for status quo
Oh, yeah.
because personalities start to develop and form then.
Yeah.
I know people now, we've had our 30th plus reunion. They won't come because they still feel like they're going to be perceived as that person they were in high school. Like, dude, they don't see you like, nah, man, because
Mm,
back then I was real quiet and so and so and so, but you're not that now. But
right.
it's certain things we carry our baggage with us. Um,
Yeah.
I noticed, and I feel that we have made strides in this industry. Um, I remember watching the Olympics in 5 commercial spots. I knew 3 of the 5, and I'm just like, I know her. Matter of fact, it was Rebecca's commercial for Wells Fargo.
Okay.
Um, it was
Trakina.
my it was Trakina.
Uh-huh.
Uh, it
For,
was me.
what was she? Was she P what was Trakina's?
What was that for?
It was one of the, I think, the analytics companies. Oh,
Yeah.
was it
I
like
heard
P&G or something
myself on
like
a
that?
political spot. I'm like,
Yay,
I know
nice.
that guy.
Okay.
And then the other 2 people, I knew they were people of color. Um, but I did um, his name is, uh, Brian Newsom.
Oh,
And I know now saying it, I'm like, "That's who that was." But it was all us, and
hey,
then I'm just like
it's nice.
so it's nice.
It's nice.
And, white people, look at me. We're proud of the work that we put out.
Yeah.
We are thankful for the opportunities that we get. We are not trying to replace you. Stop saying that shit.
Is that what you're saying? That we trying to replace?
That's what I'm hearing. We
Hmm.
are not trying to replace you. You all have had a significant slice of the pie,
If you've ever
and
heard of a market correction, that is basically what's happening,
I like the term. I
you
think I'll
know?
use that now.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So, I can absolutely understand the perspective, if you're hearing those type
we
of,
can be cool with y'all.
yeah, but the market is due for a correction. So, yeah.
I noticed it on screen because there used to be a time where if you saw a mixed or interracial couple, it was so stereotypical. It
Yeah.
was the fair-skinned chick with the curly wavy
Yeah.
hair. Now Now you got, an Asian chick with a brother.
Yep.
I saw this sister about as dark as me, with the white boy. I'm like,
Right.
I know some of them cats is over there freaking out, like, what is going on in America? It's
Yeah.
called change.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get used to it. I was very disheartened that I've been seeing a lot of DEI initiatives leave from on a corporate level, and I'm wondering if that will eventually trickle down into our industry, and I fear that it may already have. I didn't see a lot of Juneteenth promos this year.
I did not either. Yeah.
Um, you know, there used to be a lot of promos. June is also Black Music Month.
Mhm.
Didn't see a lot of those.
Yep.
Um, and I'm just like, man, that window from like 2018 to 2022,
Right.
even though we're still in demand, but we was popping.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, we ain't giving y'all reparations, but look,
Yeah,
pick a
ride
whole
this
bunch of
wave.
yeah, record these commercials and we'll pay you that way.
Yeah,
It was a whole bunch of stuff, and now for us to have made the advancements that we've made,
yeah.
I'm hoping that things do not revert back to the same old.
Yeah. I mean, I remember I worried about that too. It was kind of some of that imposter syndrome. Like, is this a fluke? Is this going to be just the flavor of the month, or flavor of the year or whatever? We're like, oh, Black voices are popular and now whatever. And it is starting to flatten out more. But I also think that it's indicative of traditional television and traditional advertising versus, like more internet and online and where Gen Z audiences are, because
Sure.
I do feel like it's more diverse there. Um, versus what you're seeing on, like, TV when you talk about, like, promos and things like that, because, I mean, like, this isn't really the commercials or anything, but, like, for instance, like, NPR, the Tiny Desk, NPR, they had a Black Music Month whole, like,
They
celebration,
sure did.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, I think, and then I see Juneteenth stuff online, but, when you're looking at your traditional channels, I just think it's probably more generational as well.
Yeah.
Gen Z is like, "Be who you are." I mean, millennials are a lot like that too, but, when you look at more of the older generations that are probably still in power at those bigger, more traditional channels,
Yeah.
they're probably more older generations, more boomer and X, and maybe that change just hasn't, moved as fast. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of layers at play.
Yeah. One of the things that I saw that made me smile when NASCAR season hit,
Mm.
um, I heard Gabe Kunda's voice,
Mhm.
and I'm trying to think of the brother's name. He goes by the name of Smack Lewis.
Yes.
His voice,
Yes.
and what made me smile about that, to my knowledge, I was the first person of color to do NASCAR promos back in like 18-ish. I think, because I've gone on YouTube and went back and listened to NASCAR promos and commercials, and I didn't hear anybody else Black. But then when mine started popping up, I'm like, was I the first? And I remember when I booked it, because it was I wasn't union yet. It was non-union promos, but they played them bad boys to death. And I remember being in a sports bar in Jacksonville, which is in the South, and them
Yeah.
boys love them some NASCAR. I love NASCAR too. I'm a big Joey Logano fan,
Mhm.
and my boy Bubba Wallace. But we in the spot, we eating fish tacos, and that's my thing. Uh, and the spot, one of my promos comes up, and when you hear your commercial, you automatically know, and you remember the script. So I'm sitting there
Yeah.
reading, I'm mouthing it, and the white dude's like, "Sound like you up there." I'm like, "That is me." So now
Oh,
he's
man.
looking at the TV, looking back at me, like, "You do stuff for NASCAR?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Mhm. Yep.
Do you watch the races?" I'm like, "Sure do." I said, "I went down," and to make him feel more comfortable, I put a little bit of extra in there. I said, "Yeah, I go down to Daytona and we watch 500, and I did Le Mans a couple times. I got some friends down there. We have a good old time down there." He's like, "Well, that's all right." And I'm like, I had been accepted. He was like, I wasn't trying to be accepted, but at first
Right,
I'm looking like, is it gonna be a problem because I'm doing NASCAR, bro?
right.
But yeah, and to hear them dudes, because I know Andrea Winslow did some NASCAR stuff
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
I'm just like, man,
And not that she's not Black, but she's woman, which was also, the minority in that way. I think Tracy Lindley did one this year for
did
NASCAR.
she?
I believe so. If I'm misquoting, sorry, but I'm pretty sure, because I was like, "Damn, yeah, Tracy, go women." Yeah.
That's my girl, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and when I see doors like that open, that gives me hope.
Yeah.
Um, you know, being that you get it doubly because, like you said, minority and a woman as well. How do you now just in that box alone?
Yeah.
How do you see progression has been made? Because I think if I ask you the question on a wider spectrum, it's like, yeah, we have made strides in that. But
Yeah.
now if we just put the ladies
Yeah.
in the box, um, do you feel there's more work that needs to be done?
Absolutely more work to be done, but I do see some progression. I feel like there are more opportunities that would traditionally be male, where they're at least willing to listen to female options. Um, I know there was one that came to mind. It was something for sports, and they even kind of said in the breakdown, like, "Look, we're probably going to go with a guy, but let's hear some women." And I know that's not necessarily just black women, but
Yeah,
it's kind of hard. Like it's intersectional, right? Like it's hard for I can't separate it. So um, I think in particular, what has helped me to feel more affirmed in media in this space as a black woman is that um, I feel like these a lot of these scripts are asking for the gravitas and the conviction and the confidence and, even some of the comedy, that is very natural in a lot of our voices, and I don't know that I knew that until I saw the breakdowns asking for it and realizing that, "Oh my god, this is how black women sound." You know?
yeah,
And it's crazy because, I didn't know that, and 'cause it wasn't just me, I listened to all my friends like Rebecca and Danielle Famble and me, and even, like, Adrienne Michelle, she has a higher register voice and a much younger sound, but
yeah.
still has a gravitas to her, you know what I mean? And it's like, "Oh, yeah, that's a black woman thing," and Christina
It
and
is.
Keisha and on and on and on and on. Mia Bankston and Andia and Mara and yeah, we all kind of have that
Tina,
common
yeah.
thread. Yeah, Trakina. I know I'm missing somebody. I love all y'all, but you know what I mean.
We know who you are,
You
ladies.
know
We
who
know
you
who you
are. You in my heart. You in my heart, even if you ain't coming out my head right now. But yeah, so I think that that was something to note. Like when you kept seeing Viola Davis as the prototype.
Man, I saw so many
Ooh,
castings for that Viola Davis, read. I'm like,
man,
y'all do
listen.
know it's more black women out there. But then it made sense. They were looking for the female version of, say, a Keith David
Yeah,
or
Morgan
a Morgan
Freeman.
Freeman
Yeah.
because I got so tired of Morgan Freeman type reads. But and then you have some of the more quirkier, like we're looking for someone with gravitas. Yeah, and this is how you can tell that this person A does not really know what gravitas means,
Hmm.
or they really haven't been paying attention to black people. But we want someone with gravitas like Donald Glover.
Yeah. So, and I think, you know what, let me jump
Okay.
on real quick because I remember when I had actually looked up because I'm a grammar nerd and language nerd. I'm like, what
I am too.
exactly does gravitas mean? Right? Because I'm thinking it's this lower, it's the Viola Davis at Delta, like, and
Yeah.
that's not necessarily it. So the definition of gravitas is dignity, seriousness, and solemnity. I can't talk of manner. Right. So I think that there is just it's not even necessarily the lower timber. A lot of people have the lower timber when they have that
Yeah.
gravitas, but there is just this undercurrent of conviction and of like a warm hug. It's like a fleece blanket.
Mhm.
And I think that that's really what people are looking for. And gravitas just sort of became the word that everybody started throwing around for
Yeah.
that. But especially coming out of the pandemic, they were looking for the motherly sort of it's okay vibe but
Mhm.
also enough depth where it didn't, like, feel like your mom saying like, "Oh, it's okay," but it was more like a, "You're okay." You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
where you
Yeah.
believe it, I don't know how else to sort of describe that, but,
Yeah. I
um,
always equate it with
like
the
Mother
weight.
Earth.
The
Yeah,
weight
the
of
weight.
something.
Yeah,
Because, when I was doing, this is right after George Floyd, and I was doing this mini series on ABC called Turning Point,
I remember that.
and they were
Yeah,
like, we want you to really put a lot of gravitas in this," and I just felt the weight of that,
yeah.
you know, whole incident, and then the other things that were happening in Ferguson. And
Mhm.
I remember my daughter coming to me, um, And she was in tears. Here's a 20-something-year-old kid, uh, blossoming into adulthood, into womanhood,
Right.
and she's seeing black men just get decimated. She's like, why do they not like y'all?"
Yeah.
And I really could not answer the question.
Yeah.
But the weight of her asking me that when I started doing those reads, I kept that in my head. And it's like, America at the crossroads.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, like, this shit is heavy. It's affecting my family. So I know it's affecting your family too. Tonight on ABC, like,
Yeah.
come and watch and we can, come together. So it does call for a certain type of weight that you have to have those um kinds of reads.
Yeah, the one like that for me was the one I did for, the BLM PAC during the, special election for Georgia, the Georgia Senate. So
Mhm.
that's when it was, we were trying to get, Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff elected so that we would have 2 Dem seats for this
Right.
southern state. And there was a special election being held for that, and that was right after Ahmaud Arbery.
Oh,
Yeah, so I remember when I booked that, I was like, "Yay," and then I saw the visual right before the
yeah.
session, and baby, I had to clean my face up because I was like,
Yeah,
"Whoa,"
yeah.
that was a powerful 30 seconds. Had this, woo, just kinda hit me a little
Just
bit
get
with
you
that.
get you yeah, yeah.
Woo!
So I'm
Um
sitting here in my thoughts like,
yeah,
you
I
know
remember the time, like, they had the visuals of a black guy in a black hoodie just running through Atlanta, and, like, you saw, the mural that's up for, John Lewis and, showing the black people in the neighborhood as he's running, and, I'm narrating, and, whew, I get to the point where in the script I say, "For those who never finish their runs," and he takes off his hoodie, and it sends a whew, it sends "I run with Maud," you know?
damn.
Yeah, I've recorded that at 21 and it's still, you know what I
It's
mean?
it'll hit you. It
Woo!
will hit you.
That was what they that gravity, that weight of carrying that message and being able to I wanted it to influence people. That's why I was so proud when I won a Sovis for that one because, like, that was one of those, like, I wanna be paid, but, I woulda did that for free. It was so
Yeah.
important to me. Um Yeah, that's the sort of weight that they were looking for and that they needed. And they needed I think by having women do stuff like that, it still brings it brings a layer of nurturing to it, but
Mhm.
black women also still have that weight at
It's a
the same
protection.
time. Yes, the mama
It's
bear,
a protection, yeah. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
when I did that, I used to so I, I am not an angry black man, but I am a man that sometimes gets angry.
Indeed.
And one of the things that used to just burn me, I would look at so I did a lot of stuff for ABC, but it was more like their news side. I'm like, I wanna do some fun promo. I am
Yeah.
tired of always being
Yeah.
the bearer of bad
Yeah, I
news,
wanna
like
laugh too. I wanna
tonight on ABC,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
LA riots 25 years later. I'm like,
Yeah, that's tough.
I have to be giving these folk
Right.
I'm tired of crying and fighting and fussing.
Yeah, yeah. I
And,
wanna dance, like
a buddy of mine was like, "Yeah, man, ABC gonna stand for always their black choice." And I'm like, "Ooh."
Always be crying.
Yeah, and that
We love you, ABC. We just,
yeah, real talk. But,
Oh, man.
and that bothered me for a while. I am. Every time they call me, it's always some old I'm like, "What all these shows on ABC, I can't get one? Let me do on a special Grey's Anatomy. I could do some
Yeah.
Grey's Anatomy?"
Right, right, right.
But
Right,
but
we don't want to
then
just do the black stuff, right? Like,
I
that
would
is
do just the black stuff.
that's when it feels great to me when I get cast for something and they didn't particularly say they were looking for African American. Oh, that's so validating. I love it. It's like, yes,
Yeah.
yes. I love doing the black stuff, but too, I just also just wanna, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me just talk. Let me just talk for the money.
And, that stuck with me for a while, and
Yeah.
I remember talking about it, when I did the diversity panel,
Yeah.
at VO Atlanta. I said, "It used to bother me, but then I thought, if this" I said, I was, in my feelings about it, but then I went, "But think about it. Of all the voices out there that can speak to our people, they chose you.
Yes. Yep.
So, you may not be the spokesperson of a particular fun promo, but if hearing your voice is gonna prick the ears of black and brown folk that tune into this thing, and now every time they hear you, it's like, "Oh, we gotta watch this because that's that dude."
Yep.
And, I'm like, now I wear it with as a badge of honor because it used to really bother me, and then I guess my prayers were answered because we started doing all this fun Juneteenth
There
stuff.
you go.
"Come
Yeah.
on, celebrate Juneteenth on ABC." I'm like, "There we go."
Yeah. Yeah.
I did,
Yeah.
Summer of Soul, the documentary that Questlove put out. I did some spots for that. I'm like, "Alright,
Yeah.
y'all heard me. Good. I don't have to
Yeah.
always be the sad walking home all alone." It's like, I like give me some fun stuff.
Right. But I mean,
So,
it's like, I was thinking during that time too, like there were riots and all that stuff, and I couldn't go out in that. I had kids, and, I'm just like, I can't, risk that. But this is my small role that I can play in the movement, like
yeah,
motivating people to go vote and saying how important it is. And this is why we need to change of leaders. That's why I love political. Or even like you, making sure that these stories are heard and not just by Black people, but more importantly by non-Black people. So that, you know what I mean? Like we know what's going on. We need to make sure
for
everybody
sure.
else know. So, I
Huh.
mean, what the work that we're doing here, even when it isn't necessarily pleasant, I do really feel like it's also, that I'm in service, in
Yes,
telling these stories.
and
Uh,
that's how I had to look at it from a perspective of service.
yeah.
Um, we are doing good. Um,
Yeah. Having a good
so
time.
now it's time to make us smile because we ain't gonna be all
Yes.
sad like, "Well,
Yes.
Erica." Um, I talked about this, in part 1. Um, the most romantical, sweet, endearing proposal on earth with an F.
Yeah.
Before we get there,
Yes.
because this show is all about the before,
Hmm.
and I remember you saying that you guys were both in music.
Yeah. Yep.
So was that, like, the initial connection?
Yeah, actually. So yeah, we were both in Richmond, Virginia. And it was funny because we figured out later that we had probably passed each other, I don't know, 2 or 3 times before.
Wow.
We were both doing like independent singer-songwriter thing, putting out our own music. We were both at the same sort of like independent festival, both performed in the same club on the
Cut
same
it
night.
out.
Yeah, didn't talk to each other. I was doing a rehearsal for a show when I was actually, I think it was when I was rehearsing to open for Chrisette Michelle, and I was
Oh,
at my
okay.
band's house, and he said he remembers that I walked past and I had my kids with me. And I was like, oh my God, yeah. We walked past each other that day. One time we were in a bar and he'll never, I don't know if he'll admit this because he said he don't remember, but we were at a
Uh-oh.
bar. I was at a bar with one of my real good friends who was at my wedding, and he hit on her. And I was there.
Oh, boy.
But so God was like, oh my God, how many times I got
Do
to
I
get y'all
have to
together?
do I have to put a sign up? You do this. Amen.
And then we ended up, I was in a corporate band, and he ended up coming in to replace a guy that was going on like leave for a little while. So he started singing with us for a couple months, and then he moved to Atlanta. But that's when we started, like we had to interact there because we were
I mean, you
traveling
had
and
no
singing
choice
together.
by this time.
Right. So God is like, oh my goodness, these fools. Let me just here, y'all here. Like so then we finally, started talking, and we kind of really were like friends first, and kind of date back and forth, but mostly friends. And then when I moved to Atlanta, that's when things kind of started to blossom. And then yes, the beautiful, beautiful public proposal was amazing. I
It
love my
it
baby.
was. I was like, because you have one of those unique smiles. It's just like bright, but then I saw that ugly face. I said,
Oh
"Oh,
man.
that's when you know it's love. When you
Look.
put the ugly face on and you don't care who see."
I was like 3 months postpartum, I was breastfeeding, I was so hormonal, and I was completely surprised, like, completely. Karn was in on it, it was like 100 people or so in Cancun, and they had candles and the music, and I was just like, "What? This is like out of the movies. Are you kidding me right now? I can't take it."
Yes, it was really dope. I was like,
It was perfect.
I said, look at these young folk out here loving on each other and things. You gotta love it.
Yeah,
Um,
my darling
as we
Delano.
conclude,
Yeah.
and shout out to you, bro, because I know you're gonna be watching. Uh,
Mhm.
I always like to end the show. It is called Take Time Out with Trey Mosley, and thank you for taking time out. Part two,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, Miss EJ. How does Erica, wife, mother, voice actor, musician, and a partridge in a pear tree,
Mhm.
how does she take time out for herself?
Oh. Oh, Lord. Um, oh, Lord. Um, it's a work in progress. It's,
Mm,
yeah, I'm not that great at it, as a lot of Black women are not. Um, for a while, it was like, I mean, I really enjoy the work so much that was really my I don't know, my space that I enjoy, but, I try to do things like, oh, I'll get a pedicure, get a massage, or whatever, but, um, what really kind of fuels my spirit, along with spending time, especially with my baby girl, I love my whole family, of course, but just really being with her is just it fills me up. Time outside, I'm finding, is more, what fills my cup, being in the sunshine, being in the fresh air. I love to travel, but a lot of times my travel mixes with work, so, yeah.
yeah.
Um, and just, I'm doing more movement now because, being pregnant and then being over 40 and pregnant and in breastfeeding, which I just stopped a month ago, so now my
Oh,
body is
wow.
like, yeah, so she's, almost 2. We almost made it to 2 years, but she was like, "I'm done," so I cried and put him away. Um so, it's I've definitely had, like, a change in my body, and I'm like, "Alright," trying to get back to the movement and the exercise and the flexibility and all that I had before, and nutrition and all those kinda things, and just learning who I am, embracing aging, spending time outside, spending time inward. I think those are the ways that I try to take care of myself, and, showing myself more grace, which I'm not great at. My husband is a wonderful catalyst to try to get me there. But yeah, just trying to take things more in stride
Yeah.
is how I'm trying to take care of myself these days.
Yeah, that term is thrown around a lot, and I'm like, maybe I need to start giving myself some grace because the way I be talking about myself, man,
That self-talk.
yeah, I'd be like, "You know what? I can't talk to you no more,
Yeah.
but you can't leave me. I'm here. I'm in here,
Yeah.
anime. I'm in here. Get out
Right.
of there."
Right. Yeah.
So,
It's
yeah,
tough.
I notice as, I get older, you talk about being in your 40s, bro gonna be 50 in about
Eee.
2 months. So,
All right
you
now.
know,
All right now.
you looking at 50, you know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Bitty piece.
I don't look too
Man.
bad. I don't know what I'm
Yeah.
doing. I really don't know. I went from planning this big old thing, and I was like, "You know what? Nah," and then I canceled it. It may change again. I have no idea.
Hey.
Just let me if I wake up first, then everything else is gravy. We'll figure it out after that.
Indeed. Indeed. And that's why I said you either get older or there's only one
Yeah,
other alternative.
and I ain't trying to see all that right now.
Right,
I still got
exactly.
I
I got
still got
things to do.
things to do. Huh, yeah, yeah.
I used to tell my kids I'm too mean to die when they would be afraid that, like, something was gonna happen to me on the road. I'd be like, "I'm too mean to die. I'll be back," because they would say I was mean when I tell them no for stuff, but
Mama mean, she ain't going nowhere.
I
Trust me,
know.
she ain't. No, she gonna terrorize y'all for a
I
long
I
time.
got so many more lectures to give. I was like, "Dang."
Tell the people how they can find you on the socials and keep up with you and give 'em your
Yeah,
website too, because my
yeah.
girl be working.
I be working. I be doing all right. I'm not great about posting what I work. I'm trying to do that too. But yes, Erikka J, ERIKKAJ. I did my SEO, so if you type that, you'll see my website, but it's just erikaj.com. At Miss Erikka J on all the socials, MISS. Um, yeah, I'm on the book face. I'm on the tweeters and the grandminsters and the things and all the socials, the in links.
Yeah, all of it.
I'm not I don't really participate on the talk tick, and I need
I
to, but
only TikTok I have is for the podcast,
I
so
had one up and I think I can't find my account, and I was trying to hit them up, and I'm like, "I want my Miss Erikka J account back," and I can't. I think they deleted it, and because I don't be on there, and it's terrible. So anyway, but I'm on the interwebs.
and maybe we can get a song out of her too. I may have to write a song, be like, just sing it. Here's the melody. Just here, play with it. Just,
Who knows? Who knows? Might come
you
out of
know.
retirement, you know.
Huh? Hey, all it takes is one placement, man.
Hey, that is true. I love when I get VO auditions and I get to sing a little bit because that just the worlds collide and I get a little bit of that itch scratched, but
Yeah, I sang for this animated thing. They were like, we want a baritone voice. I'm like, I think I can do that. So, they're like, we didn't know you could sing. Well, you didn't ask.
Yeah,
So
well,
there's that.
yeah.
So
Anywho.
EJ, sis, I thank you. And look, we're still on. So, but I ain't gonna say nothing to jinx it, because
Yeah, we made it.
last time that happened, you made a little video and we're
Hey, it
not
was
we're
funny.
doing
It
it.
was improv, baby. I gotta
I
keep
mean,
that muscle strong.
my hubris what planned my downfall. We'll just leave it at that.
It's alright. It's alright.
Perhaps I'll post it on the YouTube page one day, or
Perhaps.
maybe not.
Maybe
But
not. You should.
thank you folks for hanging out with us
Yeah,
on this part two, which we'll probably just put all together. For Take Time Out with Trey Mosley. I am Trey Mosley. This was the lovely and talented Erikka J.
thank you for
And
having me.
oh, this was cool, man. I'm glad we were
Good
able to
time.
get part two done.
Yeah,
And all right, folks, we gone. And as always, take some time out for yourself.
indeed. Bye.
Until next time. Thanks for listening to the Take Time Out with Trey Mosley podcast, part of the Titan Media Network. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, or wherever you get your podcasts. To see the video version of this, you can find us on YouTube on the Take Time Out with Trey Mosley YouTube page. Thanks for listening, or thanks for watching. Either way, we'll see you next time.